How you doing? Duff here. It's time for yet another automotive project. This is my girlfriend's 2007 Toyota Prius. Just got this a few weeks ago. She really likes the car so far, but there's one annoying thing. This little button here that's used to release the trunk. You see there's some duct tape on top of it. That's because underneath that duct tape there's a black tarry substance that used to be rubber. In 2007, Toyota evidently had a batch of these that used rubber that was shitty, more or less, that doesn't hold up to the heat, and it disintegrates. Actually, I had a 2007 Camry Hybrid that's been on other repair videos that had the same problem. The trunk button was turning into goop. So anyways, I bought a new one from a Toyota dealer. It was about 75 bucks, and we're going to document how to replace it. Okay, there's the new replacement part. This is the part that gets all goopy with what's in there right now. As you can see, there's more components to it. There's a button there that's an unlock button. So I need to get access to the back of the switch, and the way you do that is this panel here needs to come out, and from what I read, it just kind of pops out. So let me get it started and see how it goes. Basically, you just get your fingers under here and just pull, and it'll release, and just work your way around. I think from what I read, there's a total of 11 clips that hold this in. These little blue clips. Okay, there's that trim piece after it's been removed, and then you'll see the back of the latch, or the trunk lid. Okay, the next thing that has to come off is this trim piece that houses the button and the release here. And the way you do that is there's 4 10mm bolts, or I'm sorry, nuts. There's one, there's one, there's one, and there's one. You need kind of a deep socket to get down on top of that. So I'm going to get that off next. I noticed when I pulled that trim panel piece off that some of the connectors actually stayed on the trunk side. So I'm going to pull those out and put them back in the trim piece like they're supposed to. And also a tip when you're removing these 10mm bolts, make sure that you're careful to not let them drop down so they don't get stuck in the body panel. Okay, all 11 mounting clips back in the trim piece there. Oops. After removing those 4 bolts, you'll see that the trim piece comes out. Right here is the switch. It runs up into here, so I need to disconnect the wiring harness. Okay, the connector on the inside that you have to disconnect is right here. And then this comes through that hole somehow. Gotta figure that out. Okay, this weatherproof connector, you just kind of squeeze it, and then you can remove it. You'll reuse that, and then you can pull the connector all the way out, and then everything you need is in your hand, right here. Okay, if you look at this piece, you'll see right here are 2 screws that hold in the deteriorating rubber button, and then these have to come out as well. These are what anchor the lock button. So all this stuff has to come out. Okay, after removing these 3 bolts, you'll see there's the button. After removing the duct tape, you can see the mess that's left behind. This is what is left of that switch. And this is what it's supposed to look like. Now, I read online some people have had a hard time getting these screws out. One guy supposedly had to actually drill them out and replace them, so I'm hoping I can avoid that because it's all kind of filled with goop. Wearing gloves might have been a good idea. It's kind of a mess. Okay, I have everything out. You see I have a black and goopy hole here, so I'm going to try to get as much of that shit off before reinstalling a new switch. Alright, with some pretty extensive glue gun work, It's better. It's not perfect, but it's better. Good enough. Alright, to get this through, I think the way you got to do it is you got to thread all the other stuff after the rubber button through the hole first. At least that's the way it looks to me, so that's what I did. Okay, with the new switch pushed through with the trim piece oriented this way, the wire will be on your right hand side. Okay, you'll see how I have that wire routed. Now I need to reattach the button. Okay, I'm going to make a quick run to the hardware store. The two screws that were holding the rubber button in are just like coated in the black tar shit, so it doesn't make much sense to put a new switch in and have sticky screws. So let me go get a couple more screws and it should be good to go. Okay, there's my replacement screws. The switch is now firmly in place. Okay, putting this trim piece back on. Just kind of line it up, and then I'm going to use the 4 bolts on the other side to attach it. Okay, have it back in place. Before putting this trim panel back on, I just want to make sure that the trunk release does work. Makes sense. So let's have the key in my left hand. Finger here, push the button. It worked. And let's try the lock button as well. It worked. One more time. Okay, so let me put the trim panel back on and I think we're good to go. Okay, getting this panel on is just basically lining it up and just smacking it, and it'll pop into place. So anyways, the job is now officially complete. Let's make sure it still works. Yep, beautiful. So that's how you replace the rear trunk latch switch on a 2004 to 2009 Prius, I guess. I think it covers, I think this model year is 2004, 2009, I think. I'm not quite sure, but that's how you do it. If you're not filming, you can probably do the entire job in half hour, 45 minutes. So until next time, this is Duffman, checking out.